Hello and welcome back to Tiffany D Writing Journey. I'm sorry it's been a little while since I posted my last video and just life getting in the way, a lot of things that have been going on lately. So I've been trying to catch up on the video aspect of it, and I have also taken a little break from my blog. Don't worry, I will go back to writing that this week. I just took a little break, that way I could catch up on these videos as well. As you can see, we have a new addition here. My husband and I started using a green screen, and I decided to go ahead and incorporate that into my AuthorTube videos as well, just for a little fun here and there. In this video, I will be talking about the last 4 blog posts that I have written on my blog, Tiffany's Writing Journey through WordPress. So any information that I explain in here, just so you know, it is also in my blog. I will put a link in the description of the video, that way you can go there and check it out just for some extra content, extra information on all of these subjects. I am just covering a light amount of the kind of information that I've put on my blog. There's quite a bit more information there that you can really go into depth about these subjects on if that's what you're looking to do. Otherwise, like I said, I will be giving some information here as well. The first subject we're going to be talking about today is a writer's habitat. That is in regards to a writer's sanctuary, basically. Where are you the most comfortable when you write? Where are you the most productive? I did mention and describe in detail kind of what my spaces are. I actually have a couple different spaces in my home where I'm very comfortable writing. So you have the right setup, you have the right pen and paper, you know. Some writers, they have to use a certain laptop or something like that, or they can only write in journals for their first draft or whatever, and that's perfectly fine. Everybody has their own special, unique space to them that really helps them be able to write. Whatever your setup is, however you're comfortable writing, just embrace it, just enjoy writing, enjoy that space that you have. And if you don't have a space set up in your home and you really feel like you need like that writer's nook kind of area, set up a space for yourself. It definitely helps you be more productive with what you're trying to do. So if you do have a comfortable place in your home to write, I would love to hear about it. If you have like a special reading / writer's nook in your house, like there are people who have a little corner set up in their office specifically for writing or something like that. What is your setup? What makes you the most comfortable? Feel free to leave something in the comments. I would love to hear about it. Like I said, we all have our own habitat that we are more productive in. The next topic I would like to talk about is the first date. Writing about the first date in your novel. I know not all first dates are great. We've all been there on bad first dates, great first dates. I mean, there's such a mixture on both sides. It's hard to tell where their first date will go. And if it's one of those epic first dates, a romance novel, and you're really trying to get it across how well they get along in the beginning, it's very important to make sure that you write that the right way the first time, that you get the right point across. Because in some cases, when you go on a first date, you don't quite get along. You know, there could be a couple where they don't really get along the first time, and then something happens to bring them together again, and then they realize that they really were meant for each other. So there are so many different ways to do that and different ways to mix it up. So just make sure that you make it fun. You make the first date fun. I do talk a little bit about initial steps to get you to that first date in your novel and your story. Like, just for example, here's a handful of some that I actually spoke about in my blog. The first meeting. That is one step, of course, to it. Asking out the other person, the nervous moments that you go through leading up to the first date, eating in front of each other for the first time. It can be very awkward. It is something to add in there. You want to add the awkwardness. You want to add the uncomfortable eating in front of each other if they are. I mean, some people aren't. Some people are comfortable with that, but just make sure you put those key elements in there to really drive the point home that it is a first date. And also the goodbye at the end of the date. So if there's awkwardness there, you want to make sure that you make it a believable first date. Not every first date goes completely smooth and completely perfect. Not every first date is the smoothest day as far as no awkwardness or nervousness or anything like that. You have all those elements in there all the time. I don't care who you are and how well you got along on your first date. My husband and I, our first date, it was amazing. We really connected really well, and that's just who we are. However, there was nervousness and awkwardness. We just wanted to make sure what the other person might think of the other one, you know, just all those key elements to that first date. So just make sure you include that in there. It makes it a lot more fun and a lot more believable in those ways. And just make it unique. We're all unique. Every single person, every human being is unique in their own way. So if every first date is absolutely just as unique. There is no set standard for how a first date's supposed to go. So if you want to set it up and you want to make it unique to your characters' personalities, do so. If it's not a traditional first date, that's perfectly fine. That's going to make it enjoyable for someone to read as well. And the next topic I would like to talk about is also knowing when a story idea won't work. I know this is kind of a tough subject. A lot of writers have issues with admitting when they write a story idea down and then admitting when it's not a good idea and they just need to scrap it. So there are some out there who won't even admit it. They will work on that book until it is worked into the ground so much it's not really what they wanted it to be. And that's such a shame because you're wasting so much effort and so much time on that story idea that you could be spending on that epic idea that you have later on. So I do write in my blog about the 4 ways I get story ideas. I get them from dreams, from just a random idea I had, from being in a waiting situation, like waiting for someone to get out of an appointment or something, waiting in the car, or whatever the case may be. And sometimes, very rarely, I get really great ideas from forced writing. Forced writing meaning I am really trying to push an idea out of somewhere. Like it's just difficult for me to come up with the idea, and I just sit there and try and force the idea, and it is a great idea that I come up with. But those moments are special moments. I've done that with like short stories and stuff. Sometimes if I can't come up with something, I just sit there and I just think about, if it's for like a contest or something, I sit there and I think about the writing prompt over and over and try and develop that idea. Sometimes it works. I can't say that it's a 100% always working kind of thing, but those are areas where I do get ideas from for my writing. Now, I also write about indicators that help you understand when it's time to stop working on an unusable story idea. Those indicators usually are, I'll think on it for a little bit. If nothing's coming to me with it, if I had the initial idea and then I try to think about how the plot will go. I try to think about how the story might progress, and then I reach a dead end. Such a dead end that I just know there's just nowhere to take it from there. And even if I alter part of it, part of the story idea or whatever, I can just tell when it might not be such a good idea. And instead of forcing it, what I do is I just scrap that idea. If it's that hard for you to come up with that idea there, you're gonna hit roadblocks all along the way trying to write that story. So it is best just to know when to cut your losses with the story idea. And if it is something that is that good, if it is something that really is meant to be written for you, you will have that idea in the back of your mind. And every once in a while, maybe you'll have a dream, maybe you'll have an idea for it or something like that. And if it's something like that, that it keeps being like that nagging idea that you have, that you just really feel could be something, then write it down then. But don't waste your time with it if you don't feel in your heart that it's going to progress in a very readable way. So just know when to admit to scrap that story idea. It can be very difficult to admit, but sometimes it is for your best interest as far as using your talents to write that other great story idea that you have. I have scrapped other story ideas and stuff that I've written down in the past, and I have tried to really assess it before I waste too much time on it, too much time writing it down. I do go back every once in a while and find stories that I decide later that I had wasted so much time writing it down when I really don't think that it could go anywhere. But sometimes I'll keep those ideas around just as a reminder on what I'm trying to look for, what I don't want to do as far as writing a story idea down. My final topic that I would like to talk about is, should your characters swear in your novel? Now, this can be a very controversial topic. I know that there are some writers out there who they don't swear. They do not like swearing in their novels. They think it's a terrible idea. There are others who they swear a moderate kind of amount, and then there are the real strong levels of swearing, and those different levels really determine what kind of readers you're going to attract with that book or with that story. So I do write about the 3 levels of what I believe there are for swearing in your novel. The least severe being, of course, a mild level. You maybe use a swear word once, maybe twice, and they're really on the low end of the swear words. Something very, very light, something not quite like the F word or something like that. So they really try to stick to that light end of things. If they even swear at all, maybe they won't swear at all, but that's the mild level. The moderate level, really just a little bit of swearing here and there. There may be certain characters that swear more than others, but it's not like a constant basis in your novel. And you usually try to stick to the middle ground for the swear words. Like, you don't go too severe, but you don't go too light. You know, you're kind of somewhere in the middle there. And then finally, there is the severe level. Obviously, that is the most severe swear words, and it could be consistent. It could be like every other sentence, every paragraph, you have several swear words in there. In my case, I stick in the moderate range. I like to make it a comfortable range for different types of readers that may be interested in my book. I also don't want to go to the mild end, because in my novel, it being a psychological thriller with some romance in there, there is some swearing there. It just fits with the book. I try to stick to that range. It's completely up to you what you want to do. Everybody's different. There's a lot of us who, like myself included, I'm willing to read a book with no swearing to a book with a lot of swearing in it. It's perfectly fine with me. I just, as long as the storyline is good, then I'm willing to read either end of the spectrum. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not nervous about reading swearing or anything like that. I'm not irritated by it or anything. So that's just my opinion. I just like to stick to that middle range for me. Just keep that in mind in your novel as well. If it's not something that your character would typically do, if it's not in their personality to swear, I cannot stress enough, do not make them swear every other word. If they seem like the type of easygoing, kind of relaxed person who really doesn't swear very often, you're not writing your personality, you're writing your character's personality in most cases in your novel. So make sure you stick to that aspect too on what they would do. And anything that would be an angry or stressful situation, that's when most people swear in real life anyway. So it is best to try and stick to a good happy medium range in there. Now, as far as my future videos go, I am still trying to post on Thursdays, but if I do not get it posted on Thursday, I will still cover the last so many blog posts in my video. I will be trying to cover these topics for you and still get you these videos. I hope you find them informative. I hope you get a lot of helpful information out of these videos, as well as my blog that might help you with your writing. Don't hesitate to leave in a comment below, or like or subscribe if you're interested in getting more videos or more information on any writing topics that I may bring up in the future here. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and just keep writing.